We're talking about the rack deadlift. Now, you can do this with a conventional stance or a sumo stance, but the purpose of the rack deadlift is essentially to work the top range of the deadlift. So we're working more times than not with supra-maximal loading, so above people's 1RM from the floor. But this is a good variation to decrease the range of motion, to work on refining movement patterns, as well as getting comfortable with some heavier loading. So there's a lot of benefits to this above just working with super maximal loading, all right? So for our group clients, we want to reinforce good movement patterns. We want to teach them how to develop tension and be efficient with the movement. So starting with decreased range of motion is always good for people. Now you're going to have people with longer levers, where you're taller folks essentially. Those people, good variation to use this for. A lot of them won't be able to maintain a good neutral position with their lumbar spine. So this is a good variation for those folks. Now, a lot of gyms don't have racks like I have here, okay? If you don't have that, it's not a problem. You can go with a few different things. Now, you can elevate the plates of your barbell on 45-pound plates, but obviously that's gonna take away some of your 45-pound plates for the movement. So just keep that in mind, that having something to elevate the plates off the floor would be ideal, like mats. You can get mats very inexpensively, and that's going to bring the plates off the floor. You could use blocks. There's really a number of things that you could use to make this work. But for the purposes of explaining it to you guys, I'm using my rack. I'm going to have this set so it's right below my knee, which more times than not, that's where you're going to see it programmed in our programming. It's going to be just below the knee, okay? So again, reinforce good movement patterns, work with super maximal loading, so it's going to benefit our newer athletes, it's going to benefit our advanced athletes, and we could use accommodating resistance and add another stimulus to it, okay? So just keep in mind, those are all good points for this. So for the setup position, whether we're using a sumo or a conventional stance, we're going to set up as we would if we were doing it off the floor, okay? So get good setup position, making sure that abs are tight, turned on, neutral position, so we're not overextending at the head. We're keeping everything tight and stacked, okay? And then thinking about spreading the floor and extending, ending with a good lockout position, squeezing the glutes at the top. So again, those are some of the points of this. Just keep in mind that it's going to really depend on the person too. You'll have some people that actually won't be able to go as heavy. Why is that? Because they have limitations that we need to address in terms of maybe developing tension, in terms of maybe key musculature that we're trying to hit with this. So there's never a one size fits all. I've seen people that can't go as heavy with a rack deadlift, okay? So, just because the overarching theme is to use super maximal loading, it's not going to always play out that way. But we want to know that really the key tenets of this are to get good position, reinforce, learn how to develop that tension, and then work with super maximal loading once people are efficient.